Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai. Welcome to our very first podcast called Bridging the Gap. My name's Nell Venterman and my co-host is Hannah Majesta. And we are really excited to be in this space. But first, what we would like to do is just open with a karakia, which is a prayer. And we are recording this in Oti, Dunedin, New Zealand. So there is Te Reo Māori for those listeners out there who may not know what that is. That is our local Indigenous culture. So we open and close with a karakia as a way to honour energy in spaces and to be able to hold what needs to be held in spaces with care and respect. So this is our opening karakia. Tūkua te wairua kia rere ki ngā taumata. Hai ārahi i a tātou mahi. Me tā tātou whai i ngā tikanga a rātou mā. Kia mau, kia ita, kia kore ai e ngāro. Kia pūpuri, kia whakamaua, kia tīna. Ome huie tai kie. It translates to allow one's spirit to exercise its potential, to guide us in our work, as well as in our pursuit of our ancestral traditions. Take hold and preserve it. Ensure it is never lost. Hold fast, secure it. Draw together, affirm. Awesome. Great. So I'm very excited to be here today with Hannah Majesta. So what I might do is hand it over to you.
Great, thank you, Nell. What a beautiful karakia. So before we start this episode, everyone, I'd like everyone just to drop their awareness into their heart space. And what we'd like to do at the beginning of our episodes is to assist everyone to shift their energy, to center their energy, ground their energy, because throughout our episodes, we'd like to assist you all to experience a shift in your energetic resonance and to raise your vibration, raise your frequency. So if you just take a moment to get comfortable, you may wish to close your eyes. And what I invite you all to do now is just to bring your awareness into your heart space, into the center of your chest. And breathing into your bellies now, I'd like you to take a nice deep breath, blowing up your belly like a balloon, and just hold it for just a moment, and a nice deep exhale. Beautiful, and I'd like you to do that just a few more times. With every breath, focusing on the sensations in the body. And with every exhale, I want you to release any stress, any tension, any worries. Releasing them perhaps down through your feet or out through the breath. With every breath, feeling your nervous system begin to calm, your body beginning to relax. Bringing your awareness out of the mind, into the body, and into the more subtle layers of self. Coming into this now moment, becoming more present. Well done. So you can now allow your breathing to normalize, finding its natural rhythm and rate. And moving on now, we are very excited to introduce today's episode. First of all, we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we will speak about our podcast, Bridging the Gap. So I'll hand back over to Nell now to speak to us about how she works and how she got to where she is today.
Thank you, Hannah. That was very helpful. Very helpful. Those types of practices really help slow things down, which is so necessary. Kia ora everyone, my name is Nell Venterman. I am a non-binary counsellor in Oti, Dunedin, New Zealand. I am 40, I think I'm 40, yes, I'm 40, yeah. and I am originally from South Africa. I moved to New Zealand when I was 15 years old and lived up in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, for about 6 years before coming down here to Ōtepoti, which is probably the best decision that I ever made. And a bit about myself. I come from a big family in South Africa. I was born and raised in Durban, and my coding, I guess you could say, my conditioning was pretty strongly patriarchal and Christian. So if you have any ideas of what those types of cultures are like, I would probably say that it felt, as a youngster, quite oppressive. So it was a paradigm shift coming to Aotearoa, New Zealand, especially at 15, and I found that the Kiwi culture here really helped to support me finding myself as a queer person. So I landed in Ōtepoti, and I worked for a few years as a vet nurse, which was my previous career. I still really do love animals, always will, and they are incorporated in my therapy. I worked as a vet nurse for about 6 years, and through that time got married, and then went to study counselling, which was a profession that I always felt naturally drawn to. So I studied at the Polytechnic here in Dunedin, Otago Polytech, and got a Bachelor of Social Services, and the rest is kind of history. It's a profession that's really changed my life, and I absolutely adore working with people, with families, with systems, and I love working with the queer community. That, I would say, is my passion area. So, yeah, I would describe myself as somebody that is quite open-minded, fun, extroverted, and is really, really passionate about energy work, emotions, and how we feel, essentially. That's a big thing for me, is how we feel day to day. So I guess my work, my mahi, has spanned about 11 years, and in this time I've really come to understand myself on a deeper level, and have, through a lot of challenges and wins and ups and downs, really found that I have slowly, I don't know how you say this, like, I found myself with love, and that has taken a long, arduous road, and I'm still on it. It doesn't ever end. So yeah, I like riding motorbikes. I have a couple of kids, and yeah, you'd probably see me out in the forest, but in my I guess day to day, I am seeing clients or people in our community who are experiencing mental health issues, and work under specific contracts with regards to sexual trauma, family violence, intimate partner violence. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. My pronouns are they, she, and yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you for sharing, Nell. That was wonderful. So to talk a little bit about myself, so my name is Hannah. I grew up in the heart of Southland in the country, so I am a farm girl at heart. I grew up riding bikes, riding horses, playing rugby, and I guess to go into how I got to where I am now at age 38, when I was 15, I remember feeling that I was here to help people, to assist people to heal or understand themselves better. And my initial inspiration actually came from the guidance counselor at my high school. And I remember he was working with a young woman that had quite a severe eating disorder. And I remember thinking one day, wow, what a really rewarding job to work with people and help them through such challenges. So when I was 18, I finished high school and I went straight to university and did 9 years training and came out of that as a qualified clinical psychologist. And I worked clinically for several years in NGOs and government agencies, working anywhere from the Brain Rehabilitation Centre in Christchurch to youth specialty services. And I've also worked a lot in the field of sexual offending and general criminal psychology. And it was kind of through this journey of clinical psychology that I found myself always seeking for a modality that was going to assist people to create more profound change. Because what I noticed is that a lot of my clients, the techniques, the structured, more mainstream techniques that I was using weren't facilitating deep and profound change. There was something within me that knew that people could and should be healing a lot faster and a lot deeper than what they were. There was almost this ideology at the time within psychology that if you had complex trauma or complex needs, that you would need to be in therapy for many years in order to get anywhere. But there was a part of me that knew that that just wasn't so. And so I moved from modality to modality and trained in lots of different things to try and find that approach that would work. But it was actually eventually through my own healing journey, my own experience of mainstream therapies, that I discovered energy healing. And very quickly became very obsessed with energy healing, as well as the understandings and the practices of the law of attraction and manifestation. And within a very short period of time, was able to begin to heal and shift my reality very quickly. And so that brings me to where I'm at now in terms of my career as a holistic wellbeing practitioner. I weave a number of different modalities together to create this really integrative and multidimensional way of working with people that works not just with the mind, but also with the body and the more spiritual and energetic aspects of self. So it's a really profound, really exciting way of working. And really, this is my passion. This is literally what I'm obsessed about. And believe me, when I say I work harder on myself than anybody else, so I definitely practice what I preach. And yeah, this is, I guess, part of how we came to this idea of bridging the gap. It's being able to move these more mainstream ways of working with mental health, with different challenges, and the more traditional holistic practices, and weaving them together to create a more multidimensional way of working.
That is such a good way to describe it. I find, modern mainstream therapy to be quite one-dimensional in terms of you go to this therapist who is a talk therapist, and they, tax your brain cognitively, and you're able to, probably stay quite safe in your brain, intellectualize, overanalyze, and then you go back to your work week, not really feeling those shifts like you would feel, otherwise, other than feeling validated and affirmed. Sometimes we can, we tend to put way too much trust in therapy itself and actually forget that we've got all these tools and ways that we can heal ourselves, which is what we are so excited to talk more about. So the way that you work in that multidimensional way is so much more profound, and it's such a holistic way that incorporates so many different things that influence our energy and our energetic vibration that, say, a talk therapist just wouldn't be able to language or name, because they're in that confine of that, Western model of work. So, yes, I send clients to Hannah, and I am a client of Hannah's too, I'm proud to say, because of her way of working in that multidimensional way. I have, in my own life, been able to experience some of those shifts on a physical, emotional, spiritual level. And these types of sessions, the type of work that we're talking about, it feels so good. It feels so empowering. You feel like you have got potency. And we don't feel that enough, would you say?
Yeah, correct. I think the other thing is that with some of the more mainstream therapies, perhaps you need to go to sessions for several weeks or months in order to feel like you might have shifted something. But with this type of energetic work, within an hour, and what I've found with most of my clients is that by the end of that hour, they've noticed an energetic shift. They can feel that something has been released. They feel lighter. Sometimes they feel really emotional, but that's just part of sometimes the elongated release and healing process. But mostly people will say, wow, I feel lighter, or something's just shifted. So I think that's the power of this work when we're working energetically is the shifts can be really quick and really deep and really profound.
And it's something that is something you can attune to. We all have this within us, this ability to tune in, and working with practitioners like yourself, you really help in terms of scaffolding people to be able to go, yes, that is what I'm feeling. Actually, yeah, that makes more sense in that way. Whereas in some talk therapy spaces, it's just not given that priority. So yeah, that's very exciting. I feel like we will probably talk more about what it is that you do in sessions, because that is something that is a big component of this podcast and probably what's led us to this place today. So essentially, I guess a little bit of background is I have listened to a fair amount of people over the years that have spoken about energetic vibration, like Abraham Hicks, Dolores Cannon. There are some really very intelligent doctors and physicists who also have content around the science of energetics, the science of energy medicine, the science of energy healing, like Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden. These are people that I guess helped me to understand the power of my words, the power of my moods, the power of unresolved emotions, and how they directly influence our reality, our perceptions, our attitudes, our behaviors. So in picking up these lovely gifts along the way and understanding the power of vibration, the power of energetic vibration, the power of law of attraction, which for a lot of people it's like, oh goodness, talking about that sort of thing again, but actually it's scientifically proven. Our energy field expands 3 meters or more. In horses, I think it's even, the energy field expands even longer. But essentially, when I met Hannah and she was talking in a language I could understand, it really made me quite excited. And I started to feel very, very like a battery being recharged. When people talk your language, it helps, to decrease isolation with some of these experiences. You can start to feel like, yes, other people get it. This is the meaning of life. And what I'm talking about, what I'm so passionate about, is the power of, or the science of emotions, the energy of emotions. So there's so much that we are very excited to talk about, hence why we are sitting in these seats, is because we really want to bridge the gap. We want to make these types of concepts tangible and practicable, and we want to let you know we back it all up with science, don't we, Hannah?
We do. And that's the great thing about modern day research. And I would say over the last 2 decades, we've had a lot more research coming in. We now have bioimaging technology where we can actually see on a computer screen and in 3D imaging the energetic systems in and around the body, the human energy field. We can see whether they are aligned or not, whether there are any holes or tears or rips. And we can actually see now changes in the human energetic structures before somebody gets diagnosed with a major illness such as cancer. So research is now linking our energetic health to our physical health. And there's also a vast amount of research around this idea of collective consciousness, the idea that we are these multidimensional beings that are all connected through the same consciousness. And one great example is a study that was done where they took one tiny cell and they split it in half, and they took one half of that cell on the other side of the world, so about as far away from the other half of the cell as they could get it. And with the first half of the cell, what they did is they manipulated it and exposed it to certain conditions. When they did this, what they witnessed is that at exactly the same time, the other half of that cell on the other side of the world began to respond in exactly the same way. So there's this amazing research that's coming out, which is bringing the credibility to this stuff, which was originally seen as woo-woo, but only because the science hadn't caught up yet. So it's really, really exciting. And I know throughout our episodes, Nell and I will bring you more of this research because we think it's really important in terms of boosting the credibility of this industry.
That's right. That's right. We are so passionate about this stuff because we know it works. We've felt it ourselves. We can see it in the communities we work with, and we just want to make it all easy to connect with.
Yes. And I think the other thing that's really exciting about this stuff is that encourage us to be really self-empowered in our own healing, because we all have self-mastery over our energy. We all have the choice in any moment to change the way we're thinking, to change the way we're feeling. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is something that we can practice and become a master of our own energetic frequency. And through continuous healing and continuous practices, even within 2 to 3 weeks, you can begin to notice the ripple effect of those changes in your physical reality. Because, of course, our physical reality is a mirror to our internal energetic state, right? So if we are emotionally feeling low and we're having negative thoughts, then our life, our physical reality is going to reflect that vibration. And perhaps your day-to-day life will feel challenging. Unexpected things might happen that aren't positive. But if you begin to just make subtle shifts on a daily basis, whether that's waking up and doing some affirmations or doing a meditation and grounding your energy and connecting to nature, and you notice that you start your day shifting your energy, that every day might just begin to flow a bit easier for you. Things might just work out easier. And this is what happens. And as Nella said, we've both experienced this in our personal lives. I hit rock bottom many years ago, to the point where pretty much every part of my life fell apart. And upon making the decision to begin to rebuild my life, all of these different tools and resources around energy healing and manifestation began to flood into my experience. And within 3 months, I almost completely revolutionized most parts of my life, just through. And I was doing very basic stuff in the beginning, but affirmations and meditation, that's all it took. And just consciously changing my thoughts throughout the day, practicing positive thinking.
Yeah, it reminds me of this saying, it's not the difficult conditions, it's your relationship to the difficult conditions. And, you know, in terms of like being able to, you know, be energetically responsible of my vibration, things that I do or things that I've seen have huge, profound benefits for me, have been essentially practices, rituals, ceremonies that incorporate a settling of energy, a recuperation of energy, a sending of energy down below or out into the ether, where I'm able to contain my energy, clean my energy, clear my energy, set intentions. You know, these types of practices I'm talking about are meditation. Every morning I will meditate after I've woken up. And what I'm trying to do there is be in charge of my energetic vibration, because I've got so many things on that day where, you know, predominantly it is sitting down with people in their energetic vibrations. I try and, you know, clear my energetic vibration so that I'm a blank slate, but also protected. So the specific rituals I go through, whether it's a self-protection meditation, where it's a setting intentions meditation for a good day, these are all the practices which I feel can transform your energy, which can really help shift you into different feeling states, which, you know, I feel that is our responsibility, is it not?
You're right, because we are the ones in charge of our own energetic state. And I think that a big part of this is around taking responsibility for our own energy, our own thoughts, our own feelings. And that involves letting go of victim consciousness, which again is a process. And often we don't realize that we're in that space of victim consciousness. I know that it took quite a period of time for me to fully release that. And I was in that space of victim mentality in many different aspects of my life. And what that is basically this idea of poor me, I'm not responsible for what happens to me. It's not my fault. The world just does it to me, or it's someone over there's person's fault. Whatever it is, it's externalizing responsibility or blame to things outside of ourselves. But when you begin to realize that you are the ones creating your reality energetically in every given moment, and that you can actually, through shifting your vibration, shift your reality, it's incredibly empowering to do that.
Yeah, I feel like learned helplessness is a side effect of victim consciousness, or victim, when people are steeped in victimhood, it's like we kind of lose sight of all of our potency.
Yes.
And it can quickly lead us to just not feeling in control of our lives. Now, don't get us wrong. We aren't two clinicians here talking about concepts where we, think it's going to be a spiritual bypassing. We understand trust. We understand and work with people and are in the society every day where there is oppressive trauma, systemic trauma, stigmatization, discrimination in all its varieties. We aren't here talking about how you just need to live a high vibe life. We understand that people are having a pretty healthy response by being, anxious or depressed currently in this society. There is so much to get us down. We see that, we understand it, we validate that. Our thinking, our approach, our kaupapa here with Bridging the Gap is just to be able to work with it a bit more, move it a little bit more so that people don't feel stuck in isolation with these feeling states. They're not going, well, the world is messed up, it's a dumpster fire, therefore how am I meant to change my vibration? We will usher through negative feeling states, low vibrational feeling states, because we hold space for it. It's all allowed. We allow every feeling state to be here. There is no judgment on whether one specific feeling state is worse than the other. We're just going on how we feel, but trust. We are here to validate people's not feeling flash in today's society. So just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, really good point. Thank you, Mel. And I think also encouraging that, or building that ability to sit in those less desired feelings, because, biologically we are wired to move away from pain, and that includes emotional pain. So we've almost got a culture of avoidance of emotional pain. And one thing that I've learned through my own journey is this idea of building resilience to sitting in emotional distress. And that's been a really important part of my healing. And being able to face traumas. And I think that that's something that grows over time because, we can spend a lifetime building a habit of avoiding ourselves and avoiding pain. So it doesn't happen overnight that we reverse this. It's even if you take 5 minutes every day to just sit with yourself and just to feel and come into your body and feel that anxiety and get used to sitting in that and just build your resiliency over time.
It's I guess one of the main parts of this is where we can build in self-love, compassion, forgiveness, because we're human. Our emotions are normal, healthy byproducts of our experiences. And what people have in terms of their feeling states, in varying types, is actually pretty normal stuff. It's pretty normal, everyday stuff. Our main aim here is to hold space for it and allow for things to drop in that will help people move to the health of their life, help people to live the life that they deserve, the life that they desire. And it's doable. That's a big thing to say, right? But it's doable because I've seen and felt and noticed the changes in my life once I really started to hone in on my thoughts, my perceptions, my attitudes to things, where my conditioning and coding was really influencing my reality and how I what was my responsibility there? So there is stuff we can do, and it works. It really works. The science is catching up, but this is age-old stuff that we're talking about here. Our potency, our mana, our life essence.
If you think about some of the more ancient civilizations on the planet, they used to work with energy to heal, to shift their reality. This is not something that we're just learning about now. This is something that we are remembering. And this is why it's so exciting, is we're not introducing something new, we're remembering something old. And we're trying to bring that integrate that with mainstream practices, which have their place. Don't get me wrong, we're not saying that they can't be helpful. For example, the medical system. If you have an infection, you need to go and get antibiotics. It has its place. But what we want to do through this channel is we want to disseminate information, resources, tools, and bring you healing so that you can become empowered in your own healing journey. And the goal always through my practice is independence, not dependency. Because as Nell alluded to before, everyone has the capacity to self-heal. Everyone has the capacity to shift their vibrational resonance. And I think the biggest challenge is that people may have some understanding of that, but they don't know where to start. They don't know how to do it. So we want to bring the how to you. We want to bring an experience to you through meditation, through breathwork, through whatever it is where you get to experience a bit of a shift. And that's the thing with this work, is sometimes it's difficult to explain what happens or how to do it, and sometimes you just need to experience it. Would you agree, Nell?
I would agree, because our brain and our thinking can take us so far, but when we drop down into the body, when we somatically experience it on a physiological, neurological, nervous system level, it's way more potent. And I think the body is where it's at, to be honest. The feeling states, what's going on. I mean, the older I get, the more I'm checking in with my body. It's the wise one, It's the one that is, holds a lot of that content, that trauma, but also the wisdom as well, which I really do trust. A little bit of science here just to back up what we're talking about. So there is this really lovely Japanese, respectfully passed now. There's this really lovely Japanese human called Masaru Emoto, and he was a Japanese businessman and pseudoscientist who claimed that human consciousness could affect the molecular structure of water. He had a 2004 book called The Hidden Messages in Water, where he essentially did experiments on glasses of water, on water molecules, and wrote words on the glass, such as hate, love, peace, I hate you, I love you. And it actually changed the molecular structure of the water. And if you think about us being mostly water, what we are talking about is, how do our words affect us? How do our moods affect us? How do our thoughts and our beliefs affect us? Well, they affect us a lot, because we are absolutely influenced by the words that we say to ourselves, whether it's implied, explicit. What we're talking about is science that has actually backed up the power of words. So if people are curious about that, I'd really recommend looking at the pictures of the water molecules and how they shifted and changed, even with heavy metal music and light piano music. We are water at a cellular level.
That's right. Water is an incredibly powerful consciousness. And what it does is it meets you at your vibration, at your frequency. Unfortunately, a lot of our water these days is contaminated with lots of chemicals. So I actually get my water from the spring tap here in Dunedin. And what you can do is you can take a glass of water and you can intentionally send into that water a vibration, a frequency of love. And then you drink the water and you're actually going to shift your vibration just through that simple practice. I know that Teal Swan has spoken about this when she talks about her journey to self-love. This is one of the practices that she brought in to assist herself. I remember her speaking of her incredible ability to send love out to others, but she just, for whatever reason, wasn't able to, or wasn't programmed to be able to love herself. So what she did is that she took a glass of water and she held it, and for some time, I think maybe 15, 20 minutes, she just sent love to this glass of water. Now, what happened when she drank it is she actually ended up bursting into tears and crying for about 60 to 90 minutes. Through the shifting of her own internal vibration, what it did is it created this big release of trauma, and this is something that she really encourages people to try. So we encourage you at home to try that as well if you're interested in it.
I did used to write words on my pump bottles. It really does work. And you know, like Hannah said, I think that is a really lovely self-care ritual to really just spend some time with a glass of water, slow it right down, that practice of drinking water, set intentions for that glass of water and what you would like to feel, how you would like to experience yourself after drinking that water. You know, intention setting is so potent, isn't it? It really is a lovely way to contain that energy, and it has a long tail. I find if I do things intentionally or with intention, they have a longer tail as opposed to, you know, do this, do that, do this. So that, you know, the power of words on water, and how they affect us is just profound.
It is. It really is.
So essentially, today's episode was just an opportunity to meet us, and I feel like if people would like to know more about us, we do have websites. My website is yourhealingjourney11.com. And Hannah, what is your website?
Mine is www.healingthroughcorridor.org, and I've just released a new website, so you can go out there and find out more about what I do and any events that I have coming up, etc.
And we also have Instagram as well.
And I have Facebook, so you can look us up on there.
Yes. Yeah, we'd be happy to answer any questions. And if people have any comments or they would like to send us some information about what they would like to hear more of on the podcast, just get in touch with us, because we are all about this.
We would love to hear from you. And our intention really is we're here to assist you. We're here to make healing accessible. And as we spoke about earlier around the idea of collective consciousness, the more people that we reach and the more people that begin to shift their vibration begins to have this ripple effect collectively throughout our communities.
And, you know, I'm really keen to, you know, see if how you are feeling now, listener out there, compared to, say, how you felt before you tuned into this episode, really dropping down into the body and just noticing if there are any shifts that have taken place since we have been on the podcast, because these are the moment-by-moment shifts we are talking about, those energetic, the energetic movement in terms of how do I feel before, how do I feel now. And, you know, us being able to do that breathwork exercise after the karakia, these types of practices really have a huge effect on people in communities in terms of like one to a group. And the power of the collective conscious is really what we would like to tap into. And a little bit more science around that. I'm not too sure if listeners out there have heard of the 1993 New York study, where they gathered together groups of people in a mass meditation sit. And what they found is that these mass meditation sits were reducing crime rates. And the stats showed a 23.6 drop in violent crimes during the first 4 weeks of the study. It was a pretty profound study that showed real shifts in murder rates, reductions in violent crimes. Essentially, what it showed is the power of the collective consciousness, which is pretty profound, isn't it?
That's incredible. It's incredible. Imagine what we can achieve collectively if we all come together with a shared understanding and shared intention to heal and to shift our vibrational frequency.
And the work that I love with clients is being able to sit in spaces and really reflect back their own potency, their own abilities to really enhance their lives, and to really, you know, sit in that muck with them, because, you know, that's part of the role. We can do that. And it's also about helping to shift states and for them to really see, oh, in that area of my life, I am empowered. Okay, cool. Well, what will then spring off that? Well, if I'm feeling empowered in that way in my life, maybe I will do something like this, like, you know, pick myself some flowers one day and create a self-care ritual. It's all of these things that are the difference between not feeling great and actually feeling really supercharged.
Yes, feeling superhuman.
Yes. Which, to be honest, I'm ready for. I really am ready for. I feel like energetically, especially now, these times, they're pretty all over the place. They're pretty chaotic, but there's this like excitement growing in me in terms of people moving into spaces where they're more empowered, being able to see how potent they are, no longer relying on systems that really aren't helping them in the ways that they want to. And just, where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your attention and your focus? Because if you're feeling like you are just going through life, just surviving, you know, doing week to week, one step in front of the other, we guarantee you there are ways that you can and will shift your life to be able to live the life that you desire, because it does work that way. I feel like we're trying to sell a car, but honestly, this is how excited it gets me, you know, like ascension. I'm talking about the power of ascension. We have ways that we can ascend, don't we?
Yes. And ultimately, it's about coming back to self and connecting to that incredible power, that incredible vibration that exists within each and every single one of us. And through that power, through taking that power back, having the ability to shift your life in miraculous ways. It's so exciting.
It is. And if you're sitting there listening, being like, oh, whatever, this is just not attainable for me, we are here for that, okay? We are here for you being open to trying something like this, because we get it. We make decisions and don't act in our best interest sometimes, and then we start to shame ourselves and guilt ourselves and blame ourselves. So some of you might be out there listening going, well, I don't know if I can live the life I desire because I don't think I deserve it. Well, you deserve it just by being alive. That is, you know, that is enough. You are alive. You have, it is your birthright to feel self-worth, to feel empowered, to feel loved. We love you. We're here for you, and we can assist you and help guide you to feel more in love with yourself. Because I think a big part of this is the more we love ourselves, the more we want to love others, and the more we want to just spread joy and, you know, connect. And right now our community needs connection. We are all living in silos. We're at self-protection, and we want us to just connect and to be able to see people's inherent self-worth.
Because we are all worthy, and we are all unique and special and lovable and loved. It's just that we are programmed, we are conditioned throughout society to believe the opposite, that we're not worthy or we're not deserving. And these types of beliefs also stem from trauma experiences where our power has been taken from us, our boundaries have been violated, perhaps we've been abused in some form. But the really exciting thing about healing is that everything is healable. Every belief can be let go of. Every program can be deprogrammed. Every trauma can be let go of. Truly is possible. You don't have to remain in these states and these ways of feeling and thinking. And even if you don't believe that right now, we encourage you to just give it a go. What have you got to lose?
You know, the the really lovely thing is that breathwork is free. It's a tool we have on ourselves at all times. And if anything, if you're listening now and just feeling like we're too woo-woo, I just want you to take a very big, deep breath in through your nose and a nice, big, deep exhale out of your mouth, because we are energetic beings and we have power within us to be able to love ourselves, love each other, look after ourselves. And it's through interventions, practices like the breath, which bridges the gap between brain and body. We are going to use this podcast to really just convey with love all of the lovely tools and interventions and knowledge we have from our own lived experience, from working with the community in terms of what can help people heal.
Wonderful. And we really encourage you to share this with all the people around you. If you know of someone who you think may be interested in our channel or who could benefit from some healing, or perhaps someone who's on a healing journey but they've become stagnated or they're looking for something more, share this with people. Let them know through your social media. Have a conversation with them. We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, we are keen to bring you relatable themes, talk about concepts, ideas, models of practice, approaches that really do incorporate the elements of energetics, the power of energetics, self-love, self-healing, because we do want people to realize that they are potent creators of their life. And the science is how we will back that up for you, for people out there that are feeling skeptical, or that's okay. That's all good. We're just going to help to bring the science so that it quells any fears or concerns, because this is a real thing. Energetics are a real thing. Emotional healing is a real thing. Spiritual healing is a real thing. It's like these concepts are age old. As Hannah said, this is stuff that's been around. It's like a coming home to, isn't it?
Exactly. And each and every single one of us have the wisdom and the knowledge of all of this deep within self. It's just a matter of unblocking yourself enough to remember and reconnect to that.
And something that you're going to be doing in May, I'm very, very excited because I've managed to confirm a space for this upcoming retreat. Hannah is going to be co-facilitating a retreat in May. Maybe you can say a little bit about it. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you, Nell. Oh, I'm so excited about it too. This is going to be an incredibly jam-packed retreat. We have 4 to 5 incredibly talented, gifted experts in their own field, all women that have created this retreat for women. And it's an empowerment retreat where we're bringing together like-minded women to help people to heal, to release those blocks that keep us repeating the same limiting patterns that stop us from expanding beyond what we think is possible for ourselves. And we're going to be weaving in so many different modalities, breakaway groups, to help work through shifting blocks within the body, within the subconscious mind, and within the energy systems, so that every single person walks away from this retreat feeling empowered from a vibrational point of view, in a different version of themselves, feeling like they can leave the retreat and go, okay, I've released some blocks, I can move forward in my life now and move forward to those goals and desires that I was perhaps subconsciously blocking myself from before. And the great thing about this retreat and the great thing about the way that Southern retreats work is that we also include a 30-day care package, so that for an extra month after the retreat, you can also receive ongoing support and guidance from the whole team, so that we can continuously support you to move towards your goals. So if you're interested in that retreat, you'd like more information, or you'd like to book a spot, you can email us at southernretreats@gmail.com.
Yeah, they've sent out some really comprehensive information, and I am so, so excited about that. The nature element really does excite me. And like I mean, I always check in with co-facilitators to see if spaces are queer friendly, and this is absolutely going to be a queer friendly space. Even though I'm non-binary, I still feel a connection to, womanhood, shall we say. And this is going to be a safe space for people that might be non-binary, queer. So don't feel you can't come just because it is a women's retreat. It is essentially, it's just more femme energy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just words. It's just a label that we have to give it. But we're all inclusive, non-judgmental,
Awesome.
bringing together a group of females, women, however you identify, just to heal, to connect, to unblock, to unlock, to remember, to become empowered. And yes, it is located at River Ridge Lodge in the centre of the Catlins. There's very little reception, so it's off your phones, into nature, into breathwork, into energy healing, into subconscious deprogramming, all the amazing things that we have in store.
So exciting. Cannot wait. And the Catlins is such a powerful place. My goodness. It's like as soon as you drive into it, everything kind of slows right down.
Yes.
And I just love this because, these types of retreats are opportunities for people to really slow down and hone in on that wisdom. And it's so lovely, the types of things that come out of these retreats, and that care package in terms of after the retreat, that's a really lovely way to support and hold people in the work that they're doing post a retreat. Very excited. Okay, well, I feel like we've probably done enough today, haven't we, introducing our Bridging the Gap podcast.
It's a great place to end, I think. So we encourage you again to comment, reach out to us. We really want to hear from you. We want to know your experience of this. We want to know what dropped in for you, what resonated for you, what you want to hear more about. Please let us know. Engage with us.
Yes, we are very, very keen to hear what people think, if there's any content that they'd specifically like us to cover, and we plan to deliver it. And if anyone feels that today's episode has sparked anything up for them, please do get in touch. We're really, really keen to connect with our community. So I think what we might do is we might finish with a karakia. You think that's the right thing to do?
That would be great.
All right. So this is a karakia that we used to do when I worked at a child and adolescent agency. And it's called, it essentially is for when you finish a hui. It's kua mutu a mātou mahi, mō tēnei wā, manakitia mai mātou katoa, o mātou hoa, o mātou whānau, ai o ki te aorangi. And it means our work here is finished for the moment. Good health and blessings upon us all, over our friends, over our families, peace to the universe.
Ngā mihi, thank you.
Awesome. We will be back, and stay tuned, and here's to a really lovely podcast journey.